I'm muting.
Nope. Hello, everybody. Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you on a Friday, and this is what we call the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports, here with you every Friday morning at 9 a.m., unless there's some scheduling issues for yours truly, or my partner, Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. Jeremy, I know we're going to talk a lot about the huge comeback that happened last night, but I'm going to say don't call it a comeback when never mind, I won't go into that just yet. But that's the title of this episode, Don't Call It a Comeback. And one of my favorite lines from the 1990s. And but it's just one of those things where this playoff series for your Oklahoma City Thunder is I don't want to say fortune has anything to do with it, because I personally kind of believe they might have come back anyway. But we'll get into more of that later. But real quick, you put out a tweet last night that the draft and Channel 5 and Damon Lane's weather coverage. See, I'm so prone to say Weatherford. Damon Lane's weather coverage. Did it again.
Take the hat off. It's seeping into
weather
your
coverage was interfering with you, and I clued you in, and it was kind of a call for help that our household is in a severely toxic relationship with David Payne.
Yeah, David Payne can be entertaining. He's very excitable. Very excitable.
Yeah, they were when the storms were winding down last night, and they'd put in the full evening. They were they were talking about where to order a pizza from, and I thought, where would you order a pizza from? And now that they're in downtown Oklahoma City.
Well, the thing you need to do, which I've done, we usually watch Damon Lane around here. He's pretty calm. He didn't get you all riled up.
He's really good.
Weather.com. Their radar is fantastic. It's Weather Channel's website. It's kept me from having to garage the truck several times, just keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, I guess my weather app on my phone will pull up the current, and then if you want more detail, it goes to weather.com.
Yeah, got a 24-hour interactive radar on there. You can just plug your zip code in there, and boom, there it is.
Oh yeah. It's that's kind of where I go when I was working with KSCY in Seymour a lot. Mark, the owner, he utilized Wonderground, which I think was kind of an offshoot of a bunch of weather guys. But Damon Lane is great, but I just can't handle Michael Armstrong out in the field. He wears me out. I'd much rather deal with Val. And out here in Western Oklahoma, we've got Marty Logan always keeping an eye on things. But it's got to be big business, Jeremy. I mean, the whole weather coverage thing and stuff like that. I don't want to say that they're profiteers, but I mean it's got to be big business, because you can't, in media, how could you go that long without playing an advertisement?
Yeah, I know. When I see that the storm is in southern Kansas, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Just throw the map up in the corner and let's get after it.
Well, Saturday night, after the tornadoes roared through Ada and then proceeded east, and that was the thing about last night, is those were coming down from the northwest in Kansas, and I guess hit you early this morning.
Yep.
We were kind of done and out of it by midnight, I think. But the funny part about it, Jeremy, was the fact that you can tell David Payne it's like watching a child go off to college when a tornado moves out of his coverage range.
But when it's in his range, man, he's like Mac Brown that year when 45-35 neutral field, looks like as soon as he found out his team made it, he was like a a small child after a jumbo bag of M&Ms, and
Yeah, yeah.
that is David Payne to a T.
He,
Just, oh
he
my gosh,
he
the
needs
energy
to
the man has.
work on the disappointment that he displays whenever it doesn't form. Whenever,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It looks like this one's gonna die out.
Yeah, well, but he gave us Hook Echo and Mesocyclone, so we're forever grateful for adding that to the
I'm
vernacular.
just gonna say this: if I had had my bingo drinking card last night, I don't know if I'd have made this show this morning
You'd still
because
be on the floor.
between Screaming Eagle and Hook Echo and Vortices, and now they've got an acronym for some big long mesocyclone type description. I think they have, and I don't know if the media outlets join together, but I promise you, there's some meeting before storm season, which in Oklahoma now it's 10 months out of the year. But I promise you, there's some meeting where there's like creators. They're weather influencers is what they are. They say, okay, how about we call it this year? He said something about a about a open mouth vortices or so. Oh, it was.
It's like a thought experiment.
Yeah, it
So these
really is. I
people are
mean,
they're gonna Google these terms, they're gonna
yeah.
figure out what they are, and then they're gonna be saying this stuff. So we got to come up with new stuff every year.
And I'll give him credit, man. I mean, he can hit it on the fly. I mean, I think so much. My wife and I discussed that last night. We're pretty sure that he's just a total ad lib. But anyways, so we are streaming on our YouTube channel, and Jeremy, I'm going to be straight with you. I don't want to. Our YouTube channel is at Law Dog Sports, and I don't want to give Zuckerberg any credit, but it seemed like we got a lot more traction back when we were on the Facebooks.
It did, I think, because the majority of our audience is in the Facebook
Yeah.
range, so they're on there anyways.
Well,
We do have some interaction this morning on Messenger. Already
well, and that was going to
from
bring me
Steve
to my
Anderson.
next.
If we're going to get into that,
Yeah, Steve needs to be joining us on the. And my microphone is just all kinds of jacked up today. Am I sounding okay to you?
You sound fine.
Okay,
we're good.
Well, sounds like it keeps cutting out. So just for anybody who hears this that wants to participate, is I got online and I did some typical old man YouTube tutorials and figured out how to add a forum segment to lawdogsports.com because we have our Law Dog Sports text thread, and it's got, what do we got? 10, 12 participants that will jump in, particularly during college football.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to figure out a way to open it up to get more people the ability to chime in with their opinion.
More engagement. It's all about engagement.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you scroll down on the front page, which it's a one-page website, lawdogsports.com, there is a forum segment. I think you have to sign up for an account. I don't think it costs anything. It may cost me here before long, and if we have enough participants. But I think Steve already jumped on it. The funny thing about it is, and this is what a great supporter Steve Anderson is, he responded to some goofy AI automated post that I didn't do. And Steve gives this outstanding retort to this post about sports in the modern era. And I'm like, Steve, hey, bud, I don't think I typed that.
So, funny story. Steve and I were chatting a couple weeks ago, and it turns out that he's good buddies with a bunch of guys that I grew up with.
Steve is
from his days out at Eastern Oklahoma Junior College out in Wilburville, Oklahoma.
Carl, is that Carl Albert or Eastern?
No, that's Eastern.
Oh, in Wilburton.
Carl Albert's in Tahlequah.
No.
Man, where's?
But you're right. Eastern is in Wilburton.
Yeah, it's in Wilburton. I remember because I helped my good friend Kelsey Boyd move back from there when our time playing ball was up.
Yeah.
So,
did I tell you? Had I told you that a Weatherford kid signed with Washburn?
No, you didn't tell me that. Hey,
I thought I'd mentioned it. Stone Chisholm. He was our quarterback.
Uh-huh.
I tell you, it's funny because he signed for baseball, and he's a hard thrower. Jeremy, he's 6'4", 230.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 219. And he was our quarterback, so
Yeah.
he was a load to bring down. But
That's a great sized kid.
he's going to Ichabods to play the baseball.
Well,
And but anyway, so you and Steve Anderson have common friends from back in your baseball days.
oh yeah, yeah. That's it's a very small world.
All roads lead through Oklahoma as well. I
Sure.
mean, if you're going to have a connection with somebody, it'll be somebody from Oklahoma. So
They say 7 degrees of separation. It's like 2 in Oklahoma.
yeah, exactly. So anyways, there is a forum section on lawdogsports.com that folks can jump on if they feel the need, and we would love to see that and get some interaction, get some stories going. If my fear, Jeremy, is that it gets hijacked by people posting spam or I mean, I'll be straight. I don't want to be a full-time moderator. I mean, that could be a lot.
Yeah, that could be a lot. You may have to I don't know, outsource that. Maybe
Yeah.
if one of your boys who are very tech savvy have some spare time, just
They want a Christmas present.
Yeah. Oh,
they'll
by the way, you're
moderate
now
beds.
a moderator.
All right, let's get into some sports, and we appreciate all the folks. I'm not seeing anybody in yet. Let me see. All right, nobody checking in yet. And
Let me get the messenger open and tell these guys, hey, we're on.
Yeah,
let's go.
I thought we'd been consistent enough as of late to kind of ring that bell. But hey, your Thunder win last night, 114-108 in Memphis. Is it still the FedEx Forum?
I don't know. No, anyways, I think they got a new building or a new sponsor.
Yeah, FedEx Forum shows on the deal. Oklahoma City was a 9.5 point favorite in that one. So I'm sorry, Jeremy, your team didn't cover. But if you count the net comeback, surely that would be some sort of cover.
Well, when you come out and you play as poorly as they did in the first half, they gave up 71 in the first half. I think they were shooting probably 30 seems high in the first half. I mean, they couldn't hit an open shot. They weren't getting stops on defense. They were playing very un-Thunder-like. And I don't know what was said to them at halftime, but they were just nails in that second half on the offensive end of the floor. And Alex Caruso right in the middle of it.
Yeah, he got the post-game interviews with Chuck and Shaq on Inside the NBA, so that's kind of telling when you look at it and see who all
and I realized Ja got hurt, but man, it's the NBA. You know, you got a 30-point lead. You got to find some semblance of offense.
You got to find a way to get that one.
We're acting like OKC's a super team because when Shea has an off night, 4 or 5 guys are stepping up to carry the load, and he wasn't great last night. But J-Dub had a good game. Chet played well. Like we said, Caruso was just a demon on both sides of the court. It's crazy. How 29 points in a playoff game on the road.
Here's my take, Jeremy. I personally feel, I mean, I didn't catch much of the first half, and I look at Twitter and I see all of the and these are hometown guys too. All of the naysayers saying maybe this team wasn't ready. Maybe this team, isn't going to be what we think they are. And I remember thinking to myself, well, I mean, yeah, they're down a lot, but I mean, we've seen this team come back from down a lot and later than the first half. I don't think in any NBA game, once you get to the playoffs, that unless it's the 1 and 8 seed and the 1 seed is up by 30 at halftime, then yeah, you can kind of chalk that one up. But I don't know.
But the 8 seed in the Western Conference isn't like the 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. The 8 seed in the Western Conference is probably a 3 or 4 seed in the East.
Memphis would handle Orlando.
Yes, and if Cleveland had an off night against Memphis, they're getting their tails kicked too.
Yeah.
And just the resolve the team had to keep chopping wood, just come out and keep plugging away, and they found it finally.
And that's why I say I mean the Ja Morant injury, really was a detriment to. But I mean, Desmond Baines should be a lot better player than what he was in the second half last night. They have post players. That Jackson Jr. I mean, he's a guy that you should just feed and get him the free throw line, whatever the case. They didn't do it, and
Edey was getting whatever he wanted in the first half. Shea played the entire fourth quarter with five fouls.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's on you, Memphis. You got to find a way in your building to score a couple of times, and you win that ball game.
Yeah,
they scored 31 points in the second half. I don't care if Ja Morant's out there or not.
Well, they were beat 36-18 in the third. So that's when you start. That's when the yips set in. That's when you lose all. I mean, when you come out in the second half and you've got that big of a lead, and then it just shrinks your struggle bus.
I texted my buddy Cameron Hall, friend of the program, Cameron Hall.
Yeah.
And I said, man, if they get this thing to 10, and they did, it was 13 points going into the fourth quarter, and then that was that.
Yeah, it was. I sensed it, honestly. I mean, when I did kick it on the third quarter, I think, because like I said, we're in the middle of storm season.
Sure.
But so, anyways, I kick it over there in his third quarter, and I can sense the comeback. And I mean, here's the thing. I say this in full objectivity, because, I mean, I guess I pseudo support the Thunder. I'd much rather see Wemby and Cooper Flagg doing this next season.
Oklahoma ties, brother. Oklahoma ties.
But the thing about it is, to me, is that team, man, they're just relentless.
They're an easy team. They're an easy team to enjoy. Whether you're a fan or not, they're an easy team to enjoy because they have a star who is good with the media. They have a second star who's good with the media. The post-game interviews are just they're fun. The whole team is fun, and they're good 1 through 10. They've got good NBA players coming off the bench. We saw AJ Mitchell come off the bench last night. Hadn't seen him play in like 3 months.
No.
He got big minutes last night in the first half. It wasn't great, but he was out there.
Yeah,
he's a quality NBA guy, being a rookie.
Sure. Well, and
if Daigneault thinks you can play, you can probably play.
Yeah, he had a plus minus of 1, plus 1. So that's important minutes for
when he's on the floor and you're in the plus side of it. That ain't
2 minutes in and you're a plus 1. So you've contributed. Caruso, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Also
4 steals.
4 steals. Yeah, that's so huge. And what was amazing to me when you knew it was coming down was, Jeremy, how many times in the NBA do you see half-court pressure, half-court traps really pan out for a team?
Oh, I know.
I mean,
especially in the league.
Yeah, and the Thunder were man, they were thriving on that for a hot minute, and that's just so.
And Morant is a great creator.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scottie Pippen hung his rear end out to dry with that, pass.
Yes, make the layup, get it.
And, I've been watching video all morning, like the Zapruder film. It was like, Dort tried to hurt him. Dort slipped and turned around.
He slipped, turns around, and he's inside the circle. So I mean,
a competitive guy is going to turn around and try to make a play, and he did. And Ja tried to go Vince Carter in the Olympics and dunk over him or Morant.
Yeah,
that was dumb. Bad mistake.
Just dice around him and make an easy layup. It'll be just
Pippen should have just laid it up.
Just as many points.
That's why the Euro step is legal, but Pippen probably could have just laid that in and it would have been nothing. They probably would have won the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a big night for Chet Holmgren. He was 5 of 10 from the 3-point line. He had 8 rebounds, 24 points. Then J-Dub 26, 6 and 5. And then, SGA with 31 and he's catching strays after the game and the post game that nobody's really felt like he's played very well in his first 3 games.
because he was 10 of 26 from the floor. He's not hitting shots. He's known for hitting. That little mid-range floater he throws up there, his mid-range jumper, it's just not falling right now, and it'll fall.
Yeah.
It will fall.
Oh yeah. Hartenstein with 5, 5, and 4.
Hartenstein.
That's a decent night for him. I mean, because he's going against Edie.
Yeah,
a majority of the time, and
against anybody else, he's a double.
Yeah, because I mean his forte and his bread and butter is that little in the paint floater, and it does make it a little different trying to get that over 7'5".
And when you're hampered by foul trouble all night, he had 4 fouls. SGA had 4 fouls. Who else had 4 fouls? Dort with 4 fouls.
And that's what's going to happen on the road. I mean, that's
exactly.
You go on the road in the playoffs. You're not going to you're not going to get the same whistles that you are. And you know what's funny? And I'll just go into this right now. And we said this before, probably about the All-Star break, is all of this talk about free throw merchants and making your living at the line and this and that. And then to compound it, all of the Laker jock riders, the refs are going to swallow their whistle in the playoffs. Yeah, they're going to swallow their whistle in the playoffs, and Lou Dort and Caruso are going to thrive. I mean, that's exactly how it rolls. Now, we know for a fact in the NBA that it alters a bit from home to road games, but I mean, for the most part, if you're talking about a series that's going to get more physical, unless, and this is where OKC benefits from Denver maybe being eliminated and not getting past the first round. I don't see that many teams in the West, maybe Minnesota, that could really alter Oklahoma City's, game plan with their physicality.
Yeah, I think the Clippers, because Kawhi and Harden are playing so well, would give them a good series. But, because he's got all kinds of guys that guard that position, which is a huge luxury.
And I think with the depth they have, and then, like you said, run guys out at them. You're going to hang your hat on two kind of aged all-stars, then, get ready.
You think Harden wants to deal with Lou Dort?
No, I don't think Harden wants to deal with Alex Caruso.
No, or Cason Wallace, or even SGA, who's an underrated defender.
Yeah. Well, I'll feel better once. I mean, maybe it's a gentleman's sweep. We'll see what they say on Ja Morant. Saturday is the next game in the series. So
if he doesn't play, OKC is going to hammer him.
It should be a sweep.
There will be no energy in that building if Morant does not play.
He had 15, 1, and 5 before he went down. He was 1 of 4 from 3, but in the highlights, you would have thought he was, 6 of 6. I mean,
right. I mean, he wasn't. OKC outscored him by 41 in the second half. I don't think he was going to make up that difference in a half.
No. I realize,
but you don't have to when you have a 30-point lead.
It's about answering buckets and things like that. Steve Anderson checking in. Thanks for the heads up, boys. We appreciate you, Steve, a lot. I don't know. You had Jackson with 22, and Desmond Bane is probably the guy who, and I like the guy as a player. I think he could be, if he was on my team, he would be one of my favorites. But he kind of dropped the ball last night. He should have stepped up a little bit more. And I know it's tough when a team's fired up and coming back, but
you're in your house,
Yeah. It was his position to step up and get that win for them.
Yep. It's just it's a real tragedy.
Yeah. But also, I think we talked about this after game 1, they've got Ja Morant and Desmond Bane is a good role player, but what else do they have? I mean,
Edie's going to be a good NBA player. He's not there yet. I mean, he's a rookie, and this is his first playoff experience. He had a good game last night in the first half. I guess he had a good half, but that's not what you're hanging your hat on in the NBA playoffs. So we saw that last year with Oklahoma City when
Yeah.
it was their first time. And when they went against Dallas, they were not prepared for that.
Jaren Jackson. I mean,
Jaren Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, that should, and I don't know. What's your take on Scottie Pippen?
Is he Scottie Pippen, like the Scottie Pippen's kid?
Yeah, I think he's junior.
I thought Scotty spelled it with an IE. I don't know. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to have to deal with his family issues. That's my take on him. But he had 28 last night.
I'm scrolling Facebook and there's somebody made an AI picture of the Loch Ness monster, and he's holding a sign that said, "I need about 350."
I gave him $1.
I mean, and that's the thing about, yeah, he's Scottie Pippen Jr.
Okay.
He is son of the Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen. Well, I say that. Let me double check. I mean, the fact that I don't know this for certain.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at with it. I thought Scotty spelled it with an IE. Maybe they're just being fun with it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the formal spelling would be, Scottie Pippen with IE is dad. Larsa Pippen is mom.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't want to have to deal with his family issues.
And Larsa Pippen, 50 years old. That's 5 years younger than me, and she's got a son in the
Yep.
Model, entrepreneur, TV personality, and business person are her professions. She's 5'2". So if Scotty would have found a 6-foot gal that had a monster child,
yeah, and he'd probably be a lot happier.
It's something to make that guy happy, All right, so Thunder will have a shot to close things out on Saturday. Looking at that game, Jeremy, it looks like already the Thunder are a 14.5-point favorite, which is kind of where, other than on the road, I think the first two games were all 14 and a hook.
Yeah.
Even after the 50-point loss.
I think they're counting on either Ja not playing or being severely hampered with that hip and the ankle.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on crutches last night, so I can't see him being a full Ja Morant go.
Yeah. They've got him listed as game time decision, but like you said, I mean, the hip is one of those things, Jeremy, and if you've ever fallen and had a hip pointer, which I've had one in my life and I wanted to die, you can't rest, you can't sit, you can't lay. I mean,
it's right up there with a rib cage injury.
Yeah. It just every single
it only hurts when you move.
Yeah. So anyways, just going forward as a Thunder fan, would you rather face the Clippers or the Nuggets?
Man, I don't even care at this point. I think both of them are really good teams. I think it'll be a good series regardless of who they play. They both scare me equally. I mean, we got, Joker and a team with a championship pedigree, but then Kawhi at full strength, Harden actually performing in the playoffs, maybe second round Harden rears his ugly head. Hopefully Zubac will give him problems. They both present their own set of problems that give me a pause to name either one of them. They're both really good teams. I mean, the Thunder could go out there and win it in 5. They could lose it in 7. They could lose. It could go any. It could do. They could do. It could be a.
Clippers win at 117-83 last night, and it was Nikola Jokic with 23 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists. I guess he just twisted off on his team. Kawhi with 21 and 11.
So do we need to get that narrative started that Joker is Russ? I mean, he stuffed the stat sheet in a 40-point loss.
He got his triple-double and said, "Get my way." Oh Lord. He got that 10th assist and said, give it up. Knicks beat the Pistons last night 118-116 after Detroit had tied it up at 1 apiece. That's an interesting series because, and we see it in the NBA, Jeremy. The teams that are young or have a young superstar. I mean, this goes back all the way to Jordan. Is you earn your stripes.
Oh yeah, you got to beat on that door before you
You
get
got
let
to
in.
beat on that door and pray that your window doesn't get closed by an idiot general manager or something of that nature. But
Yeah,
and I wasn't referring to Presti, I promise.
or you're playing in the Jordan era and you never get to go
You're just
while
not going to
he's on the
top
floor.
him. Yeah.
No.
The only one that came in and didn't seem to have to earn, his stature to me
Magic.
looking back was Magic. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're exactly right. I mean,
Yeah.
shoot, he came in one of his first seasons, and
His
they
first
beat.
season they won the title.
Okay, so it was his first season.
Yeah.
They beat the Sixers with him playing the 5.
Yeah, because Kareem was out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, but
But
I don't know.
that team was good before they got him. They had
Exactly.
Kareem, who had won a title in Milwaukee.
We know yesterday the pencil neck was on in the background as I'm doing some soccer prep. And he just made a laundry list of all of the gimme trades that have just come the Lakers' way.
You think Gasol, Kareem, Shaq,
the Kobe trade.
Kobe. The only one who signed as a free agent was LeBron.
Yeah.
And then, the AD trade, Anthony Davis, Luka was just. Are we even policing it at this point?
Well, they
Luka
did once and prevented Chris Paul from getting a title.
Right. Luka for a broken down Anthony Davis and a box of strike anywhere matches.
I like those, by the way. All right. So NBA playoffs ongoing. What a saga it is. And, it's got just enough to kind of hook me in. And tonight we'll see how things go. If the Timberwolves can jump out to a 2-1 lead over the Lakers in Minnesota.
Big T-Wolves fan tonight.
Yeah, I always rooting for the T-Wolves. And then also no real interest in the Pacers and Bucks. Dame Lillard came back the other night. They still lost.
Yeah. I'm interested in it. I'd like to see the Pacers do that. They haven't really had a run in a while.
I'll tell you what I'm interested in, Jeremy, is I want to see if this Houston Rockets team can go into – let's see here. I can tell you in a second. Chase Center.
Yeah, the Chase Center in beautiful downtown San Francisco.
Did it used to be Intuit or something?
No, the Intuit Dome is where the Clippers play. That's their new stadium. They just had their first playoff game last night, so you can imagine the energy that was running through that place may have been a factor.
Saturday, Golden State is a 2.5-point favorite over the Rockets, and this is after really – and, I'm sure there are people – NBA fans, NBA followers that look at, it was a bad injury last night. It was accidental, like you said, but still you have a superstar going down with a hip flexor. And then the other night, Jimmy Butler gets taken down.
Yeah.
And people are ready, Draymond. People are ready to just blast Amen Thompson. Yeah. And I was looking at the film. I'm like, well, he got shoved.
Draymond hooked him with his leg and he threw him off balance and gave him a little love tap in the back. And next thing you know, Butler's writhing in pain.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, last night on that final play when Chet saved it from going out of bounds, man, it looked like, I think it was Edie gave him a good shove. I thought, man, please don't send him into that.
Please don't hurt Chet.
Yeah, that post.
Please don't hurt Slender Man.
Yeah. So anyways, the Rockets are an interesting team because I think they can win this series. I think they'd get blown out in the next one.
Yeah. They are a very solid defensive ball club. Their offense, especially in the half court, is not great. I'd like to see them go ahead and put Golden State down, maybe once and for all.
Without Jimmy Butler, I think that's very, very doable.
Yeah, you always hate to see a great team reach the end, especially with some of the same guys on that team.
Yeah.
But,
But I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
Draymond has been just an aberration, or just an abomination to sportsmanship, and
he is just reckless.
yeah,
He gets guys hurt.
cost
He's
him his own teammate getting hurt.
cost his finally cost, it finally blew up in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it, and I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about Jordan. The best team of the LeBron era was not a team that LeBron played on. It was those Golden State Warriors,
Yeah, yeah,
which goes against that GOAT clause,
yeah,
right?
and just to jump into it, and this is where I was going with my. I think I was going to comment. Having Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks in a series together, if you wanted to make this a more beautiful game, that's really not the way.
Yeah. And I was watching when I was wasting time on TikTok, there's these guys there called Nerd Sesh. They do trivia.
Yeah.
And Jordan still has more points in the postseason than LeBron.
No.
And I was told that because LeBron had been so many times, that he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jordan still has a few of those records, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then I saw a video. I'm not on TikTok, so I think I was on Instagram Reels or something, but some guy's answering questions, and he just asked this kid point blank that asked him who the GOAT is. And he goes, "I think it was easier to score in 1995 or 2025." And the kid said 2025. He's like, "Well, there you go."
Yeah.
I mean,
Jordan would average
thing.
50 a game in 25, man.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I look back on LeBron's career. When's he ever been totally clocked driving to the bucket? I mean, it is like the parting of the Red Sea when he drives.
One day in Oklahoma City, he got smacked in the face and got his nose broke.
When was that?
God, several. He was with the Heat.
Okay.
It was not in the playoffs. It was early
playoffs.
in the season, but yeah, he got it may have been the Andre Roberson team.
I mean, but even an inadvertent, rush across the face, which I'm sure he made it worse. I mean,
laying on the floor, making sure they see him.
Yeah, you look at Jordan. Even before they won their first title, the beating he took from the Pistons. And I don't care.
He got up and went back at him too, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't care how much you work out or flex in front of a camera when you're working out. Mahorn and Lane Beer would clobber him to the point where he wouldn't want to play anymore. I promise.
Sure,
you. He's got a lot of quit in him. Guaranteed.
Jordan also has that. Plus, he may have been a sociopath. I don't know. With the gambling, just for
not necessarily the best stand-up guy.
He would take a quarter off you just so he could say he took a quarter off you.
Did you ever see the sketch they did on SNL when
with
Keegan
Michael Key and
when he played Jordan? All right, one night with your wife. I don't know if she's gonna be down with that. All right, so Steve Anderson also checking in. Have I missed you guys talking about the Shadeur debacle? No, we're about to get there.
We are.
Michael Busso checking in. Good morning. Loving the thunderstorms. I love the rain. I mean, my yard loves it.
Yeah. All right, Eddie Rabbit, calm down.
I love a rainy night. Anyway, so NBA playoffs ongoing. We'll kind of recap things as we go along on Fridays. Man, I tell you, after the weekend, I started to reach out to you and see what you had going on, maybe Monday morning or something, just because I think there was a lot going on that we could have recapped. But I understand your schedule, and then if we get the interaction going on a regular basis, maybe I could jump in and just give our 12 followers 15 20 minutes on my own if I had to.
Oh, Monday would be good for me, especially after May 20th.
What's May 20th?
School's out.
Oh yeah. Okay, man, Norman's goes late.
Yeah, all the way to Labor Day.
I think these kids out here are out tomorrow.
Wow.
Dan Narva checking in. Morning, guys. How's your weather? It's thunderlicious. Anyways, NFL draft last night, and congratulations to Cam Ward, a former Incarnate Word. Are they the Cardinals?
I don't know.
Oh, if Corey Hogue was here, he would know. Because it seems like I don't remember talking about Cam Ward, but I know we talked some incarnate word at times.
Let me effort that. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, so congratulations, Cam Ward. The University of Miami product goes #1 to the Tennessee
Cardinals.
Titans. Okay, so they are the Cardinals. Good job,
Yep.
Chuck. But with that being said, I mean, I'm going to go down some of these picks that were made, and I just think this is a bit of an anticlimactic draft.
Yeah, there were some definite head scratchers in the first round. I just did not understand the Bears pick at 10 when they took the tight end from Michigan when the kid from Penn State was available.
The kid from Penn State who just obliterated defenses all season long and in the playoffs.
What's crazy is, that guy, he reminds me so much of Dallas Clark. Wears the number 44. He's very versatile. And he goes to the Colts at 14.
Yeah.
The Bears, I don't understand what they're doing. And I don't even understand what the Giants are doing. You signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, and then you moved back into the first round to take a guy that wasn't on hardly anybody's board going in the first round, Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Coming from an offense that has not translated to the NFL.
Yeah. And I don't know, the trade by Jacksonville to move up and take Travis Hunter.
That was a good trade. I mean, they got the guy they wanted, and Travis Hunter's outstanding. He's going to be a good player at the next level, whether he's primarily a receiver, primarily a corner. He's going to be a really good player. He's got all the skills necessary to do either or both, maybe.
Yeah. If he doesn't have personal life issues drag him down like that,
he seems like he's a good kid.
Like that shrew of a girlfriend he has.
I think he's one of those kids that is just
he does seem like a good kid,
very introverted, and never really, dealt with, never really had girlfriends, and then got mixed up with just a awful person.
The Giants take Jackson Dart at number 25. No Shadeur Sanders in the first round. Mel Kiper's probably, soaking his head in an ice bath this morning, saying, "What do I got to do?"
He's like been the best player available on Kiper's big board since the 5th pick.
Yeah, I mean, he might have actually been above Cam Ward in Kiper's deal.
The Cardinals drafted Ted McMillan out of Arizona, so Kyler got a big weapon, and he's played at U of A, so that's pretty cool.
Hometown boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny part about that though is listening to the analysts, and when I say this analyst, you'll laugh, but I think it was Booger McFarland that said, Teteroa had issues getting open, and if you can't get open, and
if you can't get open, you can't catch the ball.
Yeah.
And also, Ted McMillan has 2 legs and 2 arms. He also has 2 hands.
Don't make me laugh that hard. Oh gosh, but yeah, I mean, and I thought, well, I know it's coming from Booger, but I'm sure he'd watched something, been told something, or seen something. Where is McMillan on the draft board?
He got drafted by the Cardinals there.
Panthers. The Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers.
He's going to play Bryce Young.
Okay, I'm looking at it just as Arizona. I don't know.
I'm
not firing on all cylinders this morning.
Yeah, his school was Arizona, not his.
The Cardinals he's going to Walter Nolan, who had a brief dalliance with the University of Oklahoma before he went to Ole Miss, he went to A&M.
Yeah,
and then he went to Ole Miss. I can't keep these kids straight anymore.
Buccaneers take Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State receiver. I think the consensus, according to the panel, was that he, Tampa could have used a pass rusher.
Well, Bake's not going to have a lack of weapons, so I'm happy for Baker. He's got another good receiver to throw the ball to. If Godwin's hampered at all by that broken leg, it just seems like Mike Evans could, go for 1,000 yards at 50 at this point. So I don't know what the need was there. but the want was strong. They got another really good receiver for Baker. Hey, if you draft a wide receiver from Ohio State, chances are he's going to be a good one.
Yeah, he was a good one. He was just out. I mean, he was just outshined by the freshman who could go pro, last year.
Oh, I know.
Steve Anderson, I think Travis Hunter will excel more when he's not under the Prime umbrella.
And
I'm going to say this. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm going to say this. Prime is a lot.
He is. But
as far as his player relations and as far as getting the most out of his players, I don't know that that's an issue that he brings to the table. I think within that circle of Colorado players, if you've got talent and you can play, they're going to do everything they can to let you showcase that talent and let you be the best player you can be. And that's I go from day to day on Coach Prime. I honestly do. There's day and really, if Deion Jr. would back off and never be seen again, I probably wouldn't have a problem with Shiloh or Shadeur either.
Yeah, you do have a point there. I think maybe it's the overbearing T-ball parent that persona that he's kind of throwing out there with his kids is turning a lot of these guys off of Shadeur.
Well, think about it. He's turning off guys our age.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the guys that saw him play, come up from nothing or next to nothing, and then now you're supposed to tell me that these kids that have the high life, are fighting so hard and against so much. I don't know.
I don't either. I think Shadeur's drop has a lot more to do with Shadeur than it does with Deion. Reports that he didn't interview well, like some of the worst interviews these guys had ever seen at the combine. He didn't throw at the combine. He turned down an invitation to the Senior Bowl, which seemed to help Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
He didn't do a whole lot to help himself going into the draft.
Yeah. Well, and I understand there's media personalities that probably literally have to stump for Shadeur, because if you don't, there's so much different connotation that can be thrown against you in the public arena. I get that, but obviously the bad interview comments had to come from Joe Shane and the Giants, right? Because they had 2 chances at him.
They definitely did, and that's not a front office that I would take any credence in anything they had to say.
No,
they are not a serious franchise.
Now, I'll say this: the Abdul Carter pick, that's huge. I mean, he's going to be teamed up with some defensive front 7 teammates that they will be able to wreak some havoc.
Oh, definitely.
Is it wreck or reek?
Wreak
some havoc. Yeah.
We're talking about Abdul Carter, the kid from Penn
the
State.
edge rusher from Penn State, who really, pretty dominant in the college playoffs.
Apparently, he's a Micah Parsons clone.
A little bit, maybe not as. I don't know. Is the book on? I think he's just more traditional pass rusher. I don't know if he can do all the things, but he's wanting. I think that's his goal, is to be the next Micah.
And the Giants are best when they're collecting edge rushers and defensive ends. Let's be serious about it. From Strahan to the guy that blew his hand off to Tuck to was Kayvon Thibodeau. Now you got the Kayvon Taylor.
Is Thibodeau with the Giants?
Yeah, Thibodeau's with the Giants.
Okay. He's not been they kind of knew the book on him coming out. He just kind of dominated when the Pac-12 was not the strongest, right?
He doesn't have the best motor.
Exactly. Steve Anderson, Prime is always about Prime. He overused Hunter and got away with it. Man, this sounds like a disgruntled OSU fan. I'm just going to say, under starter coach Travis Hunter is going to be amazing because he's got heart on top of amazing athletic ability. I can't argue with that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would tend to disagree with the overuse part. I mean, he's the best guy you got on the field, right? You got to find ways to get those guys as many snaps as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit overuse. He didn't return kicks, did he?
Not to my
God, please tell me he didn't return kicks. Okay.
No, only an idiot would use their starting running back to return kicks in a game that didn't didn't bear on that.
Well, I see where you're going with that, but
Well, I'm glad you saw it because it's pretty blatant.
it's not DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray. You know, I tweeted back in the college football season. I like Travis Hunter a lot more when he was called R.W. McQuarters. But now Travis Hunter with the Heisman and the retired jersey. I just got to think there might be some buyer's remorse from Buff Nation to retire a second round draft picks jersey.
Yeah, you can't retire his jersey before you retire Cordell Stewart. You can't.
No,
you can't. You can't do it 2 months
what was
after
his
the
nickname
season.
At Pittsburgh?
Slash.
That was it. Yeah. Some good years there for the Steelers, which also it's interesting, Jeremy, that the Steelers take a defensive tackle out of Oregon and not a quarterback. So I think the Kuiper flock was really hoping that would be.
The Steelers are getting back to the roots,
Yeah,
when
run
you
the
say,
ball.
okay, what lineman are the Steelers going to take in the first round? And hey, we got a D tackle, Derek Harmon from Oregon. Okay.
So round 2 begins today. Number 33 pick is the Browns, the Giants at 34, and the Titans at 35, and then the Browns pick again at 36.
Do I call my shot?
Go ahead. That's what we do.
Shadeur Sanders, you are now a Cleveland Brown.
He doesn't have
enjoy your
baseball to
second
fall
or
back.
third stop before you have any kind of success.
He doesn't have baseball to fall back on, does he? He's just got dad's money. So
he made some money on his own NIL.
Sure. Michael Busso, which team would pick up Sanders? Jeremy just called his shot.
It could be Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not going to roll out there with Mason Rudolph, are they?
Yeah, but Pittsburgh doesn't pick until the 3rd round.
Well, I mean, they could trade. I mean,
they could trade
the
up
second round. I don't see. Maybe they're waiting on somebody to get released from the Giants. Maybe they're waiting on Jameis. You imagine how fun Tomlin and Jameis Winston would be together?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
just put them on the stage together and let them argue.
The Jets definitely seem to have just gathered up and collected a lot of also ran quarterbacks. Sadly, I don't know. Now Justin Fields is still in Pittsburgh, right?
No, Justin Fields is with the Jets.
So they were where'd Russell Wilson go? The Giants?
The Steelers. No, he's with the Giants. Him and Jameis are both with the Giants. And they drafted Dart. So I would
I lost track quick.
I don't want to try to get inside of the head of Joe Shane because the man is an idiot.
He's a fool.
But he's got to let one of them go, right? Just for cap purposes.
I would think.
I mean, if you just drafted a kid in the first round and let him be the backup. You don't need Jameis or Russ. One of them's got to go. You paid both of them. You can't pay both of them. One of them's got to go.
Cowboys will take Shadeur in the second round because of Jerry. Steve Anderson. Cowboys took a guard in the first round.
Yeah, a guard that apparently didn't run a 40. He ran 10 yards, but he's an Alabama kid.
Sadly, a lot of that player, Tyler Booker, man, it's rough, Jeremy. When your team loses a lot of games in the SEC, man, that the highlight reel at the draft is pretty much everybody just dominating Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, except for Alabama kids.
No, they used a couple of his clips. They found something good.
Like Grayson Halton planting him a couple of times.
The Membu kid from Missouri, a couple of his clips, and then I think Matthew Golden was just nothing but lighting up. Well, no, they had him lighting up Clemson too. So,
well, and the kid from Bama that went to Dallas. Let me qualify my comment. Booker. I don't believe. I don't think anybody wants to see it. I don't believe offensive linemen should ever have to run a 40-yard dash at the combine. There are other ways to measure explosiveness, athletic ability. Have them jump. That's great. But 10 yards. 3
Yeah,
yards. So
the
the
little
way the
shuttle,
league is now, 3 yards, because
the
that's
shuttle drill, you know.
sure. But how fast can you get from here to 3 yards? Because with so many RPOs, you're going to be downfield if you get to 10.
Cowboys pick at 44 in the second round. Would they trade up with Cleveland to take Shadeur?
I don't know. Cleveland has Deshaun, who they're paying, but they don't want. They
Flacco?
have Flacco and Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
So if they want to develop Pickett, who I think in the right system can be a pretty pretty good NFL caliber player,
I'd be
especially in
surprised.
Stefanski's system, it's pretty quarterback friendly. I mean, Kirk Cousins excelled in it.
Yeah.
I think he can be a probably fringe top 15 guy in that system. That's crazy, I know, but
Well, if Cleveland didn't take him at 33, the Giants are there at 34. You know, maybe, maybe,
God,
maybe a terrible
the
interview.
Giants
Maybe a terrible
collecting
interview
quarterbacks.
grants a second round pick, not a first round pick.
Here's a question for you, Chuck.
37 is the Raiders.
Here's a question for you,
Yeah.
Chuck. Does Tyler Shook, the greatest journeyman quarterback in all of college football history, does he get taken before Shadeur?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say this based on I would think, and as much as Tyler Shook impressed at Louisville, and obviously I think had a great combine, if I'm thinking back.
He was really good at Oregon.
Pac-12 offensive MVP, Pac-12 player
I
of the
think he
year,
was
wasn't he?
offensive newcomer. No, he wasn't Pac-12 offensive player of the year. I think he was offensive newcomer.
Well, you got me curious now, but had some success at Tech.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't stay on the field though.
Just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, he stayed healthy for Louisville.
He did, and excelled, and
what did Kelvin call it? The Toy Poodle League.
He did. In a post-game conference, he called it exactly that.
That other than the fact that he's wearing sweats on the sideline every game, you could just tell he does not give one single F anymore. He's just going to do what he wants to do, say what he wants to say.
Oh yeah,
I love it. It's great.
So going into 2020, Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal indicated that Shook would be starting quarterback and not Justin Herbert.
Well, that worked out.
No. I take that back. He was gone. He backed up.
Yeah, he was with Tech in 21, wasn't he?
They won the Pac-12 championship game in. How do you put that down there and not put a year?
I don't know. I know he quarterbacked a Pac-12 title team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I'm not seeing it, but I could have swore he was the Pac-12 offensive player of the year.
I don't think he was.
Not able to find it on his page. So,
are you on the Wikipedias?
Yeah, they didn't give that much detail about a third round pick. Hey, somebody that I'm going to have to effort to reach out to. I was talking to a baseball dad at Weatherford on last Monday, and this guy's a home builder, and he said that he had done work for a guy named Mike Moore from Eakley, Oklahoma. Does that ring any bells for you?
No.
Mike Moore was a starter.
Oh, yes, it does.
Starting pitcher.
Dodgers?
A's.
A's, that's right.
Yeah, played in the Earthquake series. Oral Roberts, yes.
Okay.
Drafted from Oral Roberts and was on the. I'll have to look and see, but he's in Western Oklahoma. I've got to find that guy. Get in touch with him. Let's see, awards and honors.
I think I went through I couldn't find it when I looked it up, so I just went through Pac-12 players of the year, players of the year, and he
Yeah.
was not on that list.
Not on there. Okay. Maybe he was a freshman or a newcomer, whatever. All right. So NFL draft continues on. We really kind of derailed there, but college football, Jeremy, as we start to wrap this show up, college football really taking some odd turns. And when I say odd turns, I don't mean just all of the Nico Iamaleava talk and everything that transpired with him, and now his brother Madden. You know, what a name for a Polynesian kid, Madden.
Yeah, I wonder what his dad liked to do coming up.
Let me tell you something. Wow. So just the thought of these kids' parents being the video game, the PS2 era kids, it's amazing.
I know.
But no, so apparently, and you can fill me in on this more, and Connor was clued in on it. I guess the Arkansas NIL operative is looking at trying to recoup some losses from Madden.
Yes, they are. And who was I watching? Clay Travis. There's talk. I'm sorry. There's talk of the SEC going after these kids too. Not the Securities and Exchange Commission, but the Southeastern Conference to recoup NIL funds.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, I mean,
he was on staff with Dave Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Stewart. Steve.
Yeah, and Eckersley.
Eck,
and that was after Raleigh Fingers, right?
Yeah, that was Catfish Hunter was not on that staff.
No, but Dave Stewart was a mean man. On the mound, and then Eckersley. But yeah, Mike Moore from Eakley, Oklahoma, was in that earthquake series where they just demolished San Francisco. So the Bash brothers with McGuire and Canseco.
Terry Steinbach.
Wasn't oh, you stole the word from my mouth. Steinbach.
Terry Steinbach, Carney Lansford.
Didn't Steinbach wear the helmet that kind of had the piece that went down over his jaw?
Yeah, he started that crap.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Who was Olerud was the guy that wore the batting helmet on base.
Yes. No, when he played in the field, yeah. Well, he had an aneurysm and had brain surgery. And, he never played a game in the minor leagues.
Really?
He went straight from Washington State to the Blue Jays.
Wow. He was I'll tell you this, he was a solid fantasy first baseman back in the 90s.
That guy was a great hitter. Him and Mark Grace were about the same guy.
Yep. Dan Narva, Terry Steinbach from New Ulm, Minnesota.
Yeah, All-Star Game MVP Terry Steinbach.
Yeah, there you go. Carney Lansford, that was another. Was Ricky Henderson on those teams as well?
I think he was.
Yeah.
Oh, who was Dave? Was it Dave Parker or Dave Henderson?
I think Henderson was on that team also. Yeah. Parker was a pitcher.
Yep.
I think Henderson, he an outfielder?
Yes, he played center.
I remember that Giants team that they beat in 89.
Yeah, that was the year that Kevin Mitchell hit 49 homers.
That's what I was going to say. Kevin Mitchell, and I think Will Clark was on that team as well.
Thrill, Jose Uribe. Man, was Matt Williams on that squad?
I want to say he was. Yeah. But wait, who was? Clark was Clark a first baseman?
Yeah, Clark played first, and
okay,
Williams
so
played third.
You had Williams on the hot corner, and then Clark at first, right?
Uribe at short, and man, the little white guy played second base. I want to say his name was Kennedy, but I can't. I don't think.
And Mitchell out in left field. So
Mitchell on left.
Boy, Kevin Mitchell's career, man, his power. He went from being the guy at San Francisco there for a hot minute, and just mid-90s, he was just journeyman, I think.
Yeah, he was a journeyman leading up to that.
Yeah.
Remember, he was the guy that had to pinch hit for the Mets, and he was sitting in the clubhouse in his underwear when they were trying to find him. So he just threw his uniform back on and went out there and
there you go.
Lined one up the middle in the 86 series.
Steve Anderson said, I think Dave Henderson went to the World Series 3 years in a row with 3 different teams. Jeff Kent
no, he wasn't there yet.
What? Who was he with then? The Mets?
Jeff Kent? I don't even think he was in the league yet. Let's see. It was the 1989 San Francisco Giants.
No,
I'm just looking at the Giants because we're.
Yeah, Kent. Sure he wasn't with them?
I'm pretty sure, but I
generally don't question Steve Anderson.
No, he was not with them.
Okay.
Matt Williams was, Will Clark, Charlie Hayes.
Ken
Oberkfell, Chris Spire, Robbie Thompson was the second baseman.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but Jeff Kent
was the manager of that team.
Terry Kennedy? No, Roger Craig.
Okay.
Your outfielders were Brett Butler in center, Candy Maldonado, one of the great names of all time.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know who used and abused the A's in 1990, don't you?
Your Houston Astros?
Nope, the Reds.
Oh yeah. That was
Eric Davis and Barry Larkin. Man, they swept them. I think.
Lou Piniella.
Sweet Lou.
All Lou. Right. Oh, Terry Mulholland was on that team.
On the Giants or the A's?
The Giants. Rick Russell, Big Daddy.
Okay.
Was that the year he was the All-Star starter and Bo Jackson hit one about 9 miles to dead center off?
So. No, I think Mulholland got voted best pickoff play.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah,
he pitched for my Cubs for a hot minute after that.
That left hand was just vicious going back to first.
Here's a name for you. Here's two names for you. Goose Gossage, what's on the Giants. Dave Dravecky. Do you remember Dave Dravecky?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Was Goose probably towards the end of his career by that time?
Oh, I would say so.
Yeah.
Man.
That's interesting.
I was watching the night when he came back, when Dravecky came back, and when his arm broke. Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded like a bat hitting,
right?
Yeah, he was throwing the ball, and you're crack.
Yeah, that's vicious. Anyway, back on the NIL stuff. And it's funny because you and I are both frequent, viewers and partakers of the X machine. You can't be a person of any standing that has covered a sport in media, have an opinion, and not have 20 million trolls come out against you.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it how guys like Dick Vitale look at this new system and think, this maybe it is more fair for the players, but I mean it's just jacked up.
Yeah. I mean unrestricted free agent every single day with all the portal windows it's unsustainable. You can't build any kind of team or continuity. No. I mean, look what Oklahoma basketball is going through on a yearly basis. I mean, they got 3 really good portal entries, but they're still in the portal because they got to field at least 15 guys, and they don't have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I don't know. And in football,
was Henderson on that Reds team?
He must have been if it was 3.
Well, no, because they played the A's in '90, so he was probably still there.
Maybe he was with the Twins in
'88,
90 or '91.
Oh, Red Sox. He played on the Red Sox. That would have been in '86.
Oh, went to the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Red Sox '86. And what, the A's 2 years in a row?
Probably.
Okay. Wait. No, because it was Cardinals and Twins in '87.
Yeah, I don't even know, man.
I do. I know, and the reason I know is because the Twins won 2 World Series where they never lost in the Metrodome.
Yeah.
I think Dan Narva can back me up on that. Anyways, but no, I mean, I get. I mean, I'm with Vitale a lot, but also, I mean, I realized, Jeremy, that on this very program for years, I contended that, this system of particularly college football, because of the violent nature and the injury and things like that, I mean, it verged on neo-plantationalism, and I don't want to get into a whole thing about that, but I mean, you had guys who were getting paid, but I mean, they weren't getting paid over the table. But then And I look back and I just say, you know what? If you just would have let a freaking Heisman Trophy winner who stayed in school collect some money for his freaking autograph, you wouldn't be in this position now.
Oh
Or
yeah,
maybe you would be. Maybe the O'Bannon suit, all of that stuff. But I don't know. I just
they've got to cap it at some point. They need to cap it. They need to, limit transfer windows. Everybody, you're based on your value. There's a cap. There needs to be a cap. Quarterbacks get a percentage, and just cascade from there. But
mhm.
this is not sustainable. It's not. And, Heupel in Tennessee, they took a stand, and now Nico went from 2.5 million a year to what's he going to clear, about 880
Yeah,
in California because
yeah.
property taxes and
But here's another thing. I mean, and this is where the internet's undefeated. These quarterbacks that put up these outrageous numbers, the Twitter guys, the Twitter fact checkers will break down where you made the hay of your stats
mm-hmm.
because they did it last night on Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
He had some SEC games where he was just not real good.
Yeah, he was not great in conference last year.
No. And what he had really his best game against a quality opponent would have been Georgia, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, he I think I hear TV in the background, but anyways, I mean, it's nothing against your TV, but man, to think that Molly Karam would be heard on our.
Well, that was not Molly Karam. That was Mina Kimes.
Oh my God, he's worse. Okay, here's my thing. I'm watching Celebrity Jeopardy, and Mina Kimes is so quick to play the victim role.
Oh yeah.
That the minute she's hitting the buzzer, and it doesn't go to her, she has this look like, this look like, what? I put in first. I despise her.
Yeah, I don't care for her
She's
either.
the worst. What was she doing? What was she on this early?
What am I?
Draft coverage?
Draft coverage, yes.
Oh God.
Because that's the expert I need right now.
She's probably the death knell in Around the Horn. If you want to get real
just
about
put Booger on.
I would listen to him for 24 hours straight over her.
I know Shannon Sharp is persona non grata right now, but could you just do this morning?
All right, let's start working our way out of here, Jeremy. So NIL, just the saga will continue. The portal, a lot of pickups. Texas picked up a big defensive lineman from Syracuse, which,
yep,
that I'm guessing Lambeau of Austin's probably stretched out their leases.
Yeah, and let's see, Oklahoma picked up a Polynesian kid from Utah and a kicker.
Okay, they'll need.
Yeah, I don't know if we were on the air when David Stone.
No, we missed that whole saga.
Yeah, we went off the air and he hopped in the portal, and
that happened right after we recorded, and then by Monday he was back in the fold.
Easter.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because our friend Travis Davidson really about went heretic on us with the with the resurrection metaphors.
Well, when Nagy said this can't happen here, I guess he meant that. Whatever he did, he's earning his paycheck.
Yeah,
you got to keep those. I know he was passed on the depth chart by some guys, but he's going to be a really good player.
Well, and that was an interesting thing last year. Was he comes in as a true freshman, and then the long-haired kid,
Jaden Jackson.
comes
who was
in.
His teammate at IMG, who was a 3-star, but he was really good last year. You bring Dominic Williams in, really good last year. Grayson Halton played great last year. Who was the other kid? Man, but he came in. He was about 290 maybe. These other guys, they came in ready to go SEC, and there's no shame in not being ready to go as a freshman.
But you know what? I mean, I could see a situation where at these academy schools that the not just the administration or the coaches, but just their teammates and things. I mean, I'm sure it's a situation where if you're not being looked at you know, in your first season and, you know, not getting, you know, your star shine, that it probably works on their head. And
Probably.
then what's the first thing a young kid does when something like that happens?
Run for the hills.
Looks for greener pastures, you know.
Well,
And
apparently
kudos,
apparently it was some family issues.
Well, sure. And that, but he's from Dell City, right?
Yeah, he's from the Mid-Dell area.
Yeah. So unless the family followed him to Florida, I don't know. But you know, I mean, and here's the thing, and you've got to check me on this too as we go forward. You know, before casting a widespread judgment, you know the facts, know the whole situation, and Lord knows that fan base Twitter groups don't. But you know, we try to do a little bit more than that here. But I'll say this, you know, the system has changed to the point to where, you know, Venables and Nagy were lucky in that they were able to talk some sense into this young man, because I think he will be able to flourish better in this situation with, you know, with what Oklahoma has at their disposal, you know, as far as his fellow teammates. But I would be surprised, you know, if you get that lucky again in the future with some of these spot guys. And then I tell you what just drove me insane was even Dean Blevins, you know, running the flag up the pole about, oh, you can't handle 5 stars, you know. Well, yeah, they've got a little bit of a checkered past with 5 stars, but to me, it's more of an indictment on the whole recruiting ranking system.
What about the 5 stars that did flourish here?
Well, Mixon and who else?
Adrian Peterson.
Sure. Was Gerald McCoy a 5-star?
He was. So was Tommy Harris.
Tommy Harris. You know, I mean, there's Jeremy Calhoun,
Trey Matuire.
Those are 2 that just jump off.
Well, Matuire wasn't anything the university did. He was just had
and when those 5 stars go somewhere else and don't flourish, you know, that's the thing. You lose a 5-star and they go to, you know, Arizona State and just dominate, then yeah, that's an issue. But if they're a 5-star, you bring them in and everybody else wanted them too. That's, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, the scouting services are not. It's not an exact science.
No,
you know, they had the big linebacker that came in when Riley was the coach, who was a 5-star, and I don't think he ever played.
Yeah.
And what's that? Well, Caleb Kelly was a 5-star.
Who?
Caleb Kelly.
Yeah, and if not for injury, I mean, he was a heck of a player, I think.
Yeah, he was a good player, but you know, he never got to take that next step because, you know, he was hurt.
I think the problem is that 5-star generally equates NFL ready within, you know, 6 months to a year, and it just it's never going to work that way.
There's only one of those guys that I can think of in my lifetime that I've ever seen, and that was Adrian Peterson.
Tommy Harris, probably.
Yeah,
maybe an off season in, you know, with a pro team, not just, I don't know. But yeah, Peterson was NFL ready. I don't know. But, you know, here's one thing that I look at also, Jeremy, is with these players, and we'll just make a loop back around the draft. You know, Shadeur goes in the first round, Shadeur goes in the second round. Jackson Dart goes to the Giants in the first round. The Giants have been awful with their first round picks.
Yep.
Cam Ward may never get out of, you know, a situation with Tennessee where they're anything but, you know, just a perennial top 5 pick team. So
and they take a quarterback every year.
Yeah. And how many quarterbacks do we see? I mean, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, has quarterbacked in a Super Bowl. He may sign a new contract here soon. So I don't know. Anyway, hey, let's get on out of here. And what a fun show it's been, man. A lot of interaction on our YouTube page once our faithful woke up, got around. Steve Anderson. I think Steve's probably an early riser. Dan's in a little different time zone with a job. Busso joining in with us. We appreciate you guys so much. What do you got going this weekend? Just ducking storms?
Ducking storms. We'll see. Guitar lesson this afternoon for the kiddo. So.
Oh, how's she coming along?
Good. She's doing really well.
She ready to crank out some Eruption yet, or what?
That'd be awesome.
Have you seen those two Spanish girls on Instagram that one's a little drummer and one's a little guitarist?
I think so.
I'll send you. I'll find it because they pop up on my timeline.
Okay.
They're pretty amazing. It's
Yeah.
pretty wild to watch them. All right, he's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This has been the Weekend Big Show. Thank you for joining in with us on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. Also follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter X, and Facebook at Law Dog Sports. Also listen to our podcast episodes at your discretion, at your convenience, on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcast. You can get all of our links on lawdogsports.com, and also jump in on our forum on lawdogsports.com. It's easy to get in there and talk sports with us. So for myself and Jeremy, be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we will talk to you real soon.
All right, I got to